Good afternoon. I am so very glad you are here today and watching on the video recording. We are recording just the scripture and the reflection from the service of April 21st. The video recorder was not working that day, and we wanted a record of this for the historical record and for you. Videographer Betsy Van Loon will show you that here today are mostly my wonderful helpers, Pastor Chris, an audience of 2, and I may pause at times so that Betsy can have the camera catch up to my words. For this short time together, we did not turn on the air conditioning, and it's August in Connecticut. If you see anybody walking out of this reflection, that's why. Or I hope that's why. Thank you to my team, Betsy at the camera, at the organ, piano, and handbell, Karen Levan, our Director of Music Ministries and organist. Helping up front, Tracy Payne. Ringing the steeple bell, Pastor Chris. And here in spirit while on vacation, Pastor Jennifer McCleary. And now lay reader, Peruz Kachoyan.
Thank you, Nora. The first of our 2 readings is from Matthew chapter 5, verses 14 through 16. You are the light of the world. A city built on a hill cannot be hid. No one, after lighting a lamp, puts it under a bushel basket, but on the lampstand, and it gives light to all in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father in heaven. Our second reading is from 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verses 10 through 12. He who supplies seed to the sower and bread for food will supply and multiply your seed for sowing and increase the harvest of your righteousness. You will be enriched in every way for your great generosity, which will produce thanksgiving to God through us. For the rendering of this ministry not only supplies the needs of the saints, but also overflows with many thanksgivings to God. Here ends the readings.
Thank you, PK. Today, you're going to get a dose of history. Coming from the church and town historian, that was pretty much inevitable. But it's really all about history, isn't it? We're here because of what happened 2,000 years ago in a Roman Empire outpost. We're here because of time spent building friendships through worship and service. With your presence, even if it's your first time here or first time tuning in, you're making a little history. I needed help to write this, so I looked at early American history, the ordination sermon for Reverend Rufus Hawley of Avon. The sermon was by his cousin, Reverend Justice Forward, in 1769. After his lifetime in ministry, he gave this advice to young Rufus: retire from the noise. Meditate on what is important to yourself and your people. So I then thought, what are some things that might be important to you here? What riches make up our collective inheritance? Riches not in monetary value, but gifts given in love and faithful spirit. Maybe you've wondered about what you've seen here. Maybe you've wondered about what you've felt here. This sanctuary is to me, and perhaps to you, a thin place. Pastor Chris shared this definition with us that he had read for thin places. It's where the distance between heaven and earth collapses. So for a few minutes, receive stories about what's been given to us in this thin place. Gifts given over time by and for our ancestors in faith and us. you're a bunch of serious givers out there. But today, you get to receive. First, a disclaimer. We know, as Pastor Jennifer said, that a church is the people, not the things. And Pastor Chris has said, it's our belonging to one another that one remembers at the end of our days, not the toys, the widgets, and the monuments. But we are in an extraordinary building. In Pastor Jennifer's words, a beautiful and beloved sanctuary. So we'll go on a little gentle tour and name some gifts with awe. The first land this church obtained was in 1798 from Eldad Woodruff. The meeting house was built 20 years later. So Eldad, that was one visionary gift. And then Joel Wheeler gave this exact site for $1. In 1818, there was liftoff. 300 men and women pledged to donate timber and money. David Hoadley was the architect. Avon wasn't even a town, but a parish of mostly farmers. Imagine, this church body nabbed a brilliant Connecticut architect. Fluted shafts, modillions, dental molding, ionic capitals, fan lights, and a Chippendale balustrade. And Tracy will help me soon. In 1993, we received a stunning gift from engineer Chester Case. Measured drawings, there's a set of about 12 of them, and he measured every square inch of Hoadley's masterpiece without a computer. These drawings are now part of the nation's heritage, accepted by the Library of Congress's Historic Americans Building Survey, and you can Google that. Thank you, Tracy. Atop are, I'm slowing down for Betsy. Thank you, Betsy. Thank you, Tracy. And now next is the weather vane, Tracy. Tracy's coming back. Atop our sanctuary's steeple is the original weather vane. This is its actual size. It has a sunburst design, an orb of wood. It weighs 95 pounds, about the size of a baby hippopotamus. Thank you. Good, Betsy. The hurricane of 1938 damaged the top of the steeple and its urns, like this one. It took the church 10 years to raise money to build an exact copy of that part of the steeple. And that's what we marvel at today. The cross on the wall behind me was put in place in 1953, donated anonymously, and dedicated to the glory of God. Donated anonymously, dedicated to the glory of God. Clifford Jones of this church designed it. And take a closer look at that cross. Pastor Chris painted those subtle shadows around it. and painted it a more vivid white to stand out. The sconces behind me were bought by Jenny Boswell at the Yield House in Avon, and she gave them to Pastor Chris, and here they are, after debuting at the Witch Trial program last year. In 1919, for our 100th anniversary, Nellie Williams gave this pulpit. For years, the pulpit was dark wood like the top. In the 1950s, a church member, going nameless, went a bit rogue and painted the base white. And what of the 4 pilasters on the face of the pulpit? Why 4? Perhaps for the biblical meaning of the number 4 as perfected by God. Perhaps for the 4 Gospels, decorating the place that holds the Holy Bible, the focal point of congregational worship. And here today, making a rare appearance, is this church's original 1818 Bible that PK read near. And there's extraordinary music at every service here. Thank you, Karen, and choirs for this gift. A fund honoring Leo Boswell enhances music here, and we often use hymnals given in celebration of his life, his laughter, and his singing. The organ was a memorial gift in 1965 from C. Fred Woodford, grandfather of Janet Carville and Barbara Rupert, constructed for this church by Austin Organs, and we'll listen. Thank you. There's a massive bell in the steeple. In 1819, Reverend Bela Kellogg hopped in his buggy, rode around town, or Avon, wasn't the town, obtained pledges to purchase that bell. Let's listen as Pastor Chris pulls the ropes. That is also the sound of celebrating the end of the Civil War. The bell cracked that day in 1865 and was recast. And for the nation's bicentennial, Roy Reed and Walter Reed used their gifts to fix and clean it. Glenn Boswell rang it that Easter and rededicated in memory of organist Lester Bradley. The handbells were purchased with donations by friends and families of loved ones, including Tom Transue's father, Percy Transue, and we'll listen to Karen now. Thank you. And here are 3 of the many items given recently in memory of Edwin Bergman from his friends and family. 2 candlesticks, actually called the Avon style. 2 green Bible markers with Verona tapestry. And the St. Philip cross, given in memory of Ed Bergman, and also Ernie and Barbara Rettig, Chester Case, Lick Lavnikevich, and Winnie Whitlock. And on our lawn is a maple tree donated in memory of Frank Burnham last year. And just to symbolize that, a few little maple leaves. The baby grand piano was donated anonymously in honor of Janet Carvel, our longest-serving choir member. Thank you. The chandelier was given in 1936 by Ernest Hodges' mother. He was a Sunday school superintendent. The church wrote her, saying, "We all loved and adored him." The chandelier is beautiful and a fitting memorial. Ernest often talked about getting a new chandelier in keeping with the old church. On the chandelier are 12 glass sconces cover the lights, perhaps for the 12 disciples? And does the brass orb intentionally mimic the round hemisphere pattern of our false window on the steeple? And there's a small eagle at the top, perhaps referencing the book of Isaiah. Those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. The 22 windows, Tracy recounted for me and got the right number, lit the sanctuary when there was no electricity during the first 90 years. And there were 5 more original windows behind me. The windows were refurbished in memory of beloveds, including Reverends Jerome and Laura Johansson, Watson Woodruff, and the Woodford family. While we don't apply plaques anymore, each window has a tiny plaque from those times, and these windows represent a whole lot of love. And what of spiritual ancestors and current members here, whose gifts, paraphrasing the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr., bend the arc of the moral universe toward justice? Making a difference today are the actions of many of the church's ministries, including social and environmental justice and outreach. In the 1840s, making a difference were church members who operated an underground railroad in a nearby house. The names of the people they saved are forever secret. The abolitionist names are no longer secret and bear great weight. Oliver Gabriel, Romeo Andrews, Amasa Woodruff, John Chidsey, and Avon Congregational Church pastor Bela Kellogg. And what a gift Caesar Rogers was, the first person of African American descent to become a member here in 1858. We can know something of embodying the gift of endurance by learning about Pastor John Whittlesey. After being in this pulpit in the 1850s, he moved to Iowa. 3 of his young children died within a week's time. During the Civil War, he was in the Iowa Volunteers, the only chaplain to 1,000 men. Faith, endurance, and love. And there you are, superhumans, right here. In particular, there is you. Volunteers abound at the Avon Congregational Church. Each member and friend has a gift and makes a difference here and beyond, in schools and soup kitchens, and with offering the gift of hospitality to all. And members and friends have served and serve in the military. And we're equally grateful to those of you who may still be searching for a way to take part, for those who just desire to be in community. We're grateful for those just checking out the Avon Congregational Church family, asking, might this be the church for me, for my wedding, for my baptism? Checking it out in person, checking it out online. We recognize those with gifts of caring who have opened their hearts to Etienne and his students in Haiti and to Satyaraj at school in southern India. We recognize those who love and care for their isolated family and friends. Those who use their gifts to champion acceptance and justice. The name of the mentor to Avon's colonial minister in 1769 is worth saying again. Justice, forward. You could have stayed home today, as Pastor Chris says, with St. Mattress. But you chose to be here. Your golden gift to everyone today, and each time you are here or watching on live stream, is your presence, your smiles and your prayers, your encouraging words, spoken, written, posted. Your gift is participating and taking action, giving help, asking for help. These gifts are blessings to recipients far and wide and to this church family. And kindness, studies have shown, fosters more kindness. And blessings you give come back to you, don't they? I learned that again in July. I'm wearing this little pin. I received it from dear friends, and it says, "You make a difference." This gracious and unexpected gift, well, it means a lot. Since 1798, the people of this church have given gifts and received gifts. The United Church of Christ's theme for April 21st, when I first delivered this reflection, was enfolded by love. Look around. We certainly are. Amen. Thank you, team. Thank you, Pastor Chris.